On the 18th of June 2008, David Davis, who was then Conservative Shadow Home Secretary and had been a Member of Parliament for 21 years, unexpectedly resigned, not only from his cabinet position, but his actual parliamentary seat of Haltemprice and Howden, in protest to what he described as a destruction of civil liberties in the United Kingdom. Gordon Brown's Labour government had recently won a House of Commons crunch vote on extending the detention of suspected terrorists without charge from 28 to 42 days. Despite 36 Labour MPs teaming up with Conservative and Liberal Democrats to stop the proposals, the incumbent government still won by a narrow margin of just 9 votes. Davis objected to the bill, so he decided to provoke public debate on the issue by holding a by-election in his safe East Yorkshire seat, where he would re-stand as a Conservative candidate, while running a civil liberties-focused campaign. The campaign was titled David Davis for Freedom, and would focus solely on the new proposed counter-terrorism measures. Along with the newly proposed 42-day detention of terrorists without charge, Davis would also campaign against the new CCTV camera laws, against the expansion of a DNA database, and against the introduction of national identity cards that were also linked to a database. From the very beginning, this by-election seemed more or less unlosable. David Davis had been continuously re-elected to the House of Commons since 1987, even surviving Labour's landslide victory 10 years later. David Davis's usual closest opposition, the Labour Party, decided not to field a candidate in the by-election at all, and the Liberal Democrats, who agreed with Davis on the issue of civil liberties, also fielded no candidate. This left only the Green Party as the only established opposition party. A staggering 23 other candidates joined the ballot paper in the race for this seat, all from either minor parties or running as independents. Overall, there was so little doubt about the result that some bookies had even stopped taking bets. However, while a victory was always in the bag for Davis, his future in the Conservative Party and the likelihood of returning to David Cameron's shadow front bench was uncertain. I took on board that I would lose my shadow cabinet post and probably my shadow cabinet future, he said. In the end, on a turnout half as big as his last general election result, Davis won the by-election, tripling his personal majority, his vote share rising to 71.6%. Several election records were broken during this time, including most candidates stood, most independent candidates, and most lost deposits. Davis's decision had been praised by some high-profile individuals, including Bob Geldof, who assisted the campaign. Geldof's support for Davis was a major blow to the current government, as he had previously worked with Tony Blair and Gordon Brown on issues of poverty. Davis's campaign was also supported by an actual sitting Labour MP, the soon-to-be retired Bob Marshall Andrews, who regularly rebelled against his own party. However, the £80,000 cost to the taxpayer to fund the by-election was frequently highlighted by many individuals, including the then Culture Secretary Andy Burnham, who had called on Davis to pay for the cost of the by-election himself. Minister Tony McNulty stood by the Labour Party's decision to not contest the seat, accusing David Davis of vanity, and did not approve of this single issue being resolved in the form of a by-election. Labour never believed a parliamentary by-election should be held at taxpayers' expense to resolve tensions at the top of the Conservative Party, he said. Upon his victory, Davis returned to the backbenches with a vow to fight Gordon Brown's vision of Big Brother Britain tooth and nail.